Yeah, you guys, East is coming to us from the beautiful San Diego, which is like one of my favorite places on the planet. And it's what, 5:23 a.m. there.
It is 5:23 a.m.
There are very few speakers who I know could make it that early. And I so wanted to start the event with you because you bring such fresh energy. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for having me. I love, love, love this. I love being here. I love that you have this many people. I mean, and I always love doing a collaboration with you because your energy is so synergistic. There's a great analogy. I don't know if anybody has ever seen this, but it's a video of this little kid on a trampoline. And the little kid is trying to jump really, really high. And he's jumping and he's jumping and he's only getting so high. And then his friend jumps on the trampoline and together they're able to double their height by jumping together. And I really feel like you and I do that.
Oh, I love that imagery. That is so true with you.
Yeah.
You guys, I've known East for over a year now, and we love doing events together. She was on Create Your New Reality last year, and now she has this amazing new program on purpose and possibility. And so this was just perfect for today. It was a no-brainer. So East, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you, and I think we can dive right in.
You got it.
Okay. So let me pull up my show notes here for you. So you guys, Dr. East she is committed to helping others actualize their full potential and well-being. She's been a licensed acupuncturist and practitioner of integrative medicine since 1999, although she doesn't look that old. And in 2013, she obtained her doctorate in acupuncture and oriental medicine. Since 2018, Dr. East has dedicated herself to holding space for people like you. And you guys, she does it with such sincerity. You're the ones holding space for so many other people in the world, and she really cares to hold space for you. She sees all of you in your highest potential. And I know she's done that for me too. It's such a gift to be her friend. And she will absolutely motivate, inspire, and encourage you to fulfill your mission on this planet. I love reading the bio, but for each speaker wanted to just share how I personally see them. And I see you as a healthy, strong, high performing, but not intimidating coach. You are compassionate, you're hilarious and no nonsense. You're disciplined and generous, and you lend everyone around you the momentum that they need to be their best when they need it most. So thank you, East, for joining us.
Wow. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I met you at my virtual event last year, as I mentioned, which is about the power to create your own reality, to create your life. And with this event, we're talking about the power to create a purpose-aligned business, which you've done so successfully. So I'd love to know how important is it for entrepreneurs to really believe in their power to create something?
I mean, it's crucial. Whatever you believe is true. So if you believe you can, you're right. If you believe you're going to fail, you're right. And so the first step would just never look at anything like a failure. It's just your first attempt. Try it again. Try it again. If it doesn't work, try it again. There's a great book by the author, his last name is, I think is Weck, but it's called Mindset. And it's either, do you have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? Most of us are predisposed with this fixed mindset. You try something once, didn't work, not going to try it again. But the growth mindset tells us that I can try it once, it doesn't work. Okay, let me try something different and attempt it again until it does work. And the beautiful thing is, even though most of us are born with that fixed mindset and the programming from just our friends, our relatives, our parents, society lends itself to that fixed mindset, you can actually grow and learn how to have a growth mindset. And trust me, I'm showing up for this lecture because even myself, I get tripped up on this all the time. Like a great example is, there's a platform out there. There's one called ClickFunnels. This is business related. And then there's a new one out there called Go High Level. Now I know ClickFunnels, but everybody's using Go High Level. And I was like, oh, I just don't want to use Go High Level. And so somebody talked me into it. I invested money into it and it flopped. I spent $2,000, $3,000. It didn't go the way I wanted. So I created a belief in my mind that Go High Level wasn't for me, that I'm not going to use it. And there was a fixed mindset there. Fast forward a year, I hire another advertising agency and they are gung-ho over Go High Level. And I caught myself saying, nope, I've tried it before. It didn't work. Nope, not doing it. I refuse to use it. And I said, wait a second, look at me. I'm doing that to myself, right? So I said, you know what? We are using Go High Level and we're going to win this time. And I'm going to teach myself, as painful as it is. I love learning new things and sometimes I don't, right? When it comes to technology, it's like, oh God, somebody just do it for me. I don't want to sit here painfully learn how to use yet another program or software. I shifted that and said, what if I could teach myself that? And now I'm even more powerful. I have more superpowers by learning this software. And I also just tend to be that person that doesn't want to lose. So I'll be like, you're not winning, Go High Level. So I think it's just crucial to believe in yourself. And sometimes we have to grow that belief with small little victories, right? It's like, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in myself, East, because I had businesses that didn't work out, or I did this job forever and I thought I loved it and then I didn't. And I think that's where we get tripped up. And that's really where I'm taking myself, is to explain to people that we're not born with one purpose. We're not born with one mission. I feel like, when you've fulfilled a certain mission or purpose because you no longer enjoy it. And we stay too long. We overstay our welcome in certain jobs and careers, and upper management, whatever you want to call your upper management, God, your guides, God, source, the cosmos, is watching and saying, oh, they're not leaving. Okay, let's make it uncomfortable. We got to get them out of there, right? So I know I'm kind of answering your question with a lot of tangents there, but I'm trying to drop as much as I can because, as you can tell, I'm super passionate about this because I want you all to imagine this. Imagine if everybody on this planet felt like they were on a purpose, like they just felt on purpose. They felt like they were serving. They felt like they were progressing. They felt like they were growing, expanding, and serving others. Could you imagine the vibration on this planet if everybody felt like every day they woke up with a sense of calling, like, oh man, I am so excited to be up today. I am so excited to go treat my patients, see my clients, deliver my gift. If everybody felt that way, what a beautiful world this place would be. And I do believe that's possible. And it's possible when everybody, in my past, I've been there, when everybody stops shooting on themselves and everybody starts to give themselves permission to follow their purpose, their passion, and their joy at this time. Because it changes. Yes. It changes. And too many of us hold on tightly. Oh, but I went to school for this. I'm supposed to be this. I have to do this. No, you don't. No, you don't.
I love that, East. Oh man, it's so good. First, just what you were saying about what we believe is what comes to pass. And that example of the fixed mindset of, we have a notion of what something is, and it shuts down creativity. And what I want to say to all of you today is to come curious. And I was listening to something the other day and she said, be willing to discover what you don't know. Be willing to discover what you don't know and ask, which path ahead has the most for me to learn, which I think is so interesting. So I love what you said about don't hold on too tightly. And, you're not born with one mission. Can you talk a little bit about that too, in terms of how do we know which of our intuitions or inklings or passions is our purpose for right now for this season?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to kind of figure that out. One is, what are you really interested in? What do you catch yourself doing for free? And then what I do believe that there's a thread that's pulled through our entire life in terms of like a baseline thread of our calling and purpose. So even though it might manifest in different careers, vocations, and things that we're doing in our lives, throughout our lives, there's like a common thread. And for most of us on this call, it's probably helping others, right? Like I remember as just even a little child wanting to help others. I want to help others. The way I do that might change and alter throughout time of my lifetime. But so there's like this common thread. So I always like to go back to childhood. How did you play as a child? And get curious about that, because that shows you when you're a child, all your bills are paid for, hopefully. All, you know, and most of us as children, we didn't think about having to have a job that made money. We just did what we enjoyed, and we played in ways that we enjoyed. So you look at how you played as a child, and then see how that would look in an adult form. So that's one. And then at this time, what are you really interested in? What are you looking at? What are you paying for? What kind of workshops, trainings, courses, books, videos do you buy? And what if you could be paid for the same thing, right? Because there's 8 billion people on the planet, and you're over here squirreling away all this juicy information. And what if you could share that information with others? Like that's like Jack Canfield's a great example of that. Chicken Soup for the Soul, Success Principles. You know, Jack Canfield didn't sit down and like write all of this stuff. Jack Canfield went out like a squirrel, gathered all this amazing information to empower people, organized it just a little differently, and then presented it in this beautiful container to others so that they could go on and up-level their lives. Jack Canfield is a fabulous example of somebody who followed passion and belief. You know, Chicken Soup for the Soul, they submitted that book to over 30 publishers, and every publisher was like, this is not going to make it. Good try, buddy, but go back to the drawing board. No, this book will never make it. It's not really a big bestseller, you know, try again. And Jack Canfield's like, nope, nope, it is. And so he got back and they decided to self-publish that book.
Yeah.
It's that belief.
Well, yeah, I think I remember hearing about that story, and it reminds me of something you've shared where, and you mentioned it just now. What are you doing for free, and what are people picking your brain for? Can you talk a little bit about how you noticed a pattern of people would come to you and say, East, how do I do this? And then you created a course out of it, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the next layer, which is there's two things, you know, like I always talk about upper management, God, cosmos, universe, the source, your angels. They're trying to talk to you all the time. Sometimes they talk to you through other people, and those other people might come to you for advice. So what do people come to you for advice? They see you as a thought leader in something, even if you're like, why are you coming to me, right? Like let's say you've been married 3 times and people are coming to you for advice on marriage, and you're like, why would you come to me? Well, I think you have a lot of experience. So of course I want to ask you, but so what do people come to pick your brain? What do other people see in you that you might not even see in yourself? Like we all have blind spots of our greatness. I do believe that. And so somebody might come to you and say, you'd be really good at this. And you kind of poo-poo them like, oh my gosh, no way. So in my example, in that example, years and years ago, back in the 90s, when you used to do like step aerobics and everything, I used to take step aerobics with my friends. And all my friends said, oh, East, you'd be such a great teacher. And I'm like, have you seen me do step aerobics? Like, I can't keep a beat. I'm behind everybody. Like, what are they talking about? And after enough people told me, you'd be so good. And then I matched that with, oh, I get a free membership to the gym if I do this. I'm like, I'm going to try this, right? So that's one. But then in my own career, I was in full-on private practice. Now I've been in private practice since 1999. I was a professor since 2004. I was a supervisor at the clinic. And so a lot of students that have graduated or practitioners, and because I had so much experience as a practitioner myself, people would come to me and email me or call me or take me to lunch to pick my brain on what to do about their practice, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, East, like I'm moving my practice. What can I do? Hey, East. And this went on forever, and I did it for free and I loved it until I did it, right? And that's when you know, like, I have a decision to make. Do I keep allowing people to pick my brain for free, or do I monetize on this? Because I'm starting to get resentful. And so after this very long email exchange with a student of mine, well, what about this? Well, what about that? Well, what if I moved here? I mean, it was hours of my time. he said, wow, thank you so much. You know, East, you are so good at this, you should charge for it. And I remember thinking, you know what, buddy, after you, I will. And I got so angry and resentful because I felt like he was just taking advantage of my time that I went on my free Weebly website, which was for my practice. See, this was for my private practice. Patients went to this. And I just put a little button that said practice coaching, $150, click here. Then the next time somebody called me to pick my brain, I said, oh my gosh, I would love to help you. Go to my website. I've now created a little container for this. And people were like, ding, 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 ding. They started paying me for what I was giving away for free. Now, this story is rich because with a lot of advice, well, pearls, if you will, or seeds. Notice I didn't sit and say, oh, wait, okay, now I want to do coaching. I got to create a big website. I've got to get collateral. I got to get business cards. Oh my gosh, I got to get a logo. I've got to come up with a name. It's got to be perfect. No. Oh, what are my patients going to think if all of a sudden I've got coaching on my website? Do you notice I literally just went on a free website that was for my patients and put a button on it? I didn't wait for it to be perfect. I didn't have a business card. I didn't have a name. I didn't know what to charge. I pulled that out of the air. I guess 150. That's how much I'm charging for my sessions with patients. So I guess I'll charge that to practitioners who want to pick my brain. And then I started to feel really good about that. I was like, whoa, wait, I can make money doing what I love and I'm doing for free. This is fun. How else can I do this? How else can I serve these practitioners? So I started to ask them, what other problems do you have? Oh, it's so hard to find continuing education, East. Like the CEUs out there are just boring. And I was like, oh, I love making CEUs. I'm going to make you some CEUs. So then it just started to kind of roll into more ways to serve that population, which was fun for me, which started out as free. And so that's another clue. If there's something that you're doing for free, you're volunteering, get curious. Like Sarah said, I love that. How could I monetize on this? Could I create a business around this? And the best thing to do is just start doing it. Don't wait. Don't say, well, let me check. Let me create a $5,000 website. Let me make business cards. Don't. Just start doing it, charging for it, and see, because sometimes you might start doing it and go like, oh, I actually don't really like this. So let me back up. I'm not going to go too far down this road because the offshoots of this road aren't really lighting me up. So let me back up and go down a different road to see if I'm getting really lit up over here.
Yes. And that is one of the strong points of an entrepreneur is, it's not for the faint of heart, as I've said, and being able to know what your risk tolerance is to course correct, right? So you're going down a path and it's like, and really being in tune with that intuition. And that's where things like mental rehearsal can really keep you grounded in not what you want to do, but who you want to be. So I always bring it back to who you want to be. And I know you do that too. How can we tie in, talk to me about the importance of having there's your purpose, but kind of a larger vision that supports your purpose in life.
That's the thing that pulls you,
Yeah.
right? You don't want to feel like you're being pushed through life. Like think of a damp cloth, we're pushing that and it's like, ugh, versus being pulled. It's like you wake up and you just feel this pulling to you. So when you can connect the dots to the larger picture, like I did when we opened, when I said, imagine if everybody on this planet felt like they were living a life of purpose and calling and serving, and they woke up just feeling so lit up, like there's no cases of the Mondays, like, oh, I have to go to work. It's like, I get to go to work. This is so exciting. Like, imagine that everybody that you met on your path was so excited in what they were doing. What kind of life would that look like, right? And then I back up and I see that I'm contributing to that bigger vision. And your vision could just be for a better world. But I do believe that we can look at what we're doing and find that S in it, right? The service to others in anything that you're doing. If you're an accountant, you're helping somebody do an area of their business or their life that gives them headaches, right? So that's service to others. Like, let me do that for you. You don't, even my house cleaners, right? They love doing it. They show up. They're very joyful. They love doing that. Thank goodness, because while I don't mind doing house cleaning, I'd much rather do other things. So it's nice to be able to give it, but they're serving me so that I can serve others. It's just this beautiful symphony that's occurring. So always looking to how you can connect the dots that way.
Yeah, yeah, that bigger vision. And part of what today's purpose of today is to get you in touch with that bigger vision for your entrepreneurial dream. What steps can someone take, East, if they're feeling afraid to move forward in that purpose? And I know you said I love this, we have blind spots to our own greatness, but what can someone do if they're feeling afraid to move forward? And then yeah, so I'll pause there, and then I've got another question for you.
Yeah, baby steps are still steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps are still steps, right? So I would take baby steps. If you're scared, like grab some of your friends and say, hey, listen, I'm thinking about trying this out. Can I practice on you guys? Hey, I've got this course. I've got this thing. I want to try this. Can I practice with you? Do something on a smaller scale and be okay with that. And then practice and grow your confidence in it. I think it's just like the baby steps. The other thing that I want to drop right here is part of my motivation is, it's a little morbid, but what do I want on my eulogy, right? So if what you're doing right now fulfills you so much that you're like, oh, I would love that. I would love if my eulogy said East was the best practice coach on the planet. It's like, oh, is that good? Or, like when I was in private practice, I think there was a time when I was fine with that. Like East was the best healer on the planet, or one of the best, I can share and then I started to find my interest being drawn. But a big motivator for me is kind of like that idea of a runway. I guess it's because I got a little older in life and I was like, oh, I don't have the rest of my life. It's like, what do I want to be known for? What do I want to be remembered for? And if it's not what you're currently doing, then it's up to you. It's your responsibility to get curious on what that is. If it is what you are currently doing, then let's get curious how you can be seen as one of the best, one of the greatest in that. Yeah. And it's just baby steps. It's not, I know it's not easy. I know you do it anyway. And the analogy, sometimes one of my mentors told me, East, sometimes you have to take your favorite hat and throw it over a high wall. Because in that analogy, if it's my favorite hat or my favorite object, I'm going to find a way to get over that wall to get it. So sometimes I'll oblige myself or commit myself to do something that's scary, but then my reputation is very important to me. So, and I'm like so committed to never flaking on anything. So if I commit to something, it's like, I will find a way to fulfill it. Like a great example was, I wanted to be an author, but I wasn't writing anything, but I was like, I want to be an author one day. It's like, okay, authors write, East, you need to write, but I was so scared, and I would read my stuff and say it's horrible. And nobody's going to want to read it. And I don't have a writing background. I have a business background and a healing background. Like when I write, I can't put two sentences together, all these things. So I threw my favorite hat over a wall by one day I got an invitation calling all authors. We need articles for this alternative medicine magazine. And I instantly, without stopping, I wrote, I want to submit an article. They wrote back, fabulous. We need it in 2 weeks. And I said, okay. And then I was like, for 2 weeks, I walked around my house coming up with excuses to not do it. I'm going to tell them I got in a car accident. I'm going to tell them that I'm just too busy. I'm going to tell them they're not going to care if I don't do it. They have plenty of all that for 2 weeks. That's what I spent my time on. And I finally looked at myself in the mirror and said, you are ridiculous. All of that time you could have spent writing. You wasted 2 weeks, right? You're coming up with excuses to get out of this. You sit your butt down. So I did. I stayed up till like 3 a.m. the night before it was due. And I wrote the article. And of course I looked at it and said, it's horrible. I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe this. People are going to think I'm lame. And I said, I don't care. You're submitting it anyway. That was my very first article. And I ended up being a columnist for them for, I don't know, 8 years.
I love that. It's like, you told me once, I woke up and I didn't want to go for a run and I didn't want to do XYZ. And so I went and did it. And then you feel better after, right?
Yeah.
I've heard it said too, what if a holiday or what if a day was named after you? Like here in the States, we have Martin
Yeah.
Luther King Day and Columbus Day and all these days. Like what if a day were named after East Phillips or Christina Kaiser or Celeste Farrell or anyone on this call? What if a day were named after you? What would it be honoring and celebrating? And that, I mean, I don't even know how I would answer that. It's so humbling, right? To think of, you know, when we're really living in our purpose and calling, it's a humbling experience because you are serving the world.
Yeah.
East, did you have an interactive exercise for us on passion, vision, and purpose? Do you want to lead us through an exercise?
Sure. I could do that. Yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun.
Cool.
Okay, so this is just some numerology. All right.
Yes.
So I think that numerology is fun. It can be fun. That's what it is. It's just, let's get curious. So what I want you to do is write out your birthday. And maybe you already know your life path number. Maybe you're like, oh, East. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to read to you some possibilities, right? So this is either going to be confirmation, like I am on my life path, right? Or, you know, I always knew that I was meant to do that. So write out your birthday, like all the way out. So
like all numbered, can you put in the chat?
yeah,
In the chat,
yeah.
like,
So June 27, 1970. Oh my gosh, now you know my birthday.
like that.
That's my birthday. Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. Awesome.
Okay. So 6 plus 2 plus 7 plus 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 0, right? If you add up all the numbers, it comes to like 32. 3 plus 2 is 5. So you ultimately want to come to one number. And if your number is 10 or 20, then it ultimately is a 1 or a 2. So everybody get your number. Okay. So like 6, 7, 8, 8 plus 7 is 50. Well, now I'm giving you guys numbers and you're probably like, let me do mine. So you can use a calculator, but add up all your numbers of your birth date. Okay.
You write down, is the year four,
you write down the full year. So 1980 something, 1970, you add up all the numbers, right? So again, I'm June 27, 1970. So I'm going to say 6 plus 2 plus 7 plus 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 0 is 32. And 3 plus 2 is 5. So I am a 5 and I am 5.
I think I'm an 8. I don't know. I can't calculate that early in the morning.
That's okay. Did you add up everything?
I think so. Let me do it on the calculator. 1. Yep. So 35, and then you add those, and it's an 8.
Yep.
So you
5
add it
plus
to
3 is
get to
an
one
8.
digit. Okay.
Yep.
Tell us
5
what
plus
yours
3 is
is.
an 8. So everybody has their number. Now, if you've read Dan Brown's book, The Life You Were Meant to Live, that's a great book. That's from the 80s, 90s. You know, even if you've read Dan Brown's book, this is updated downloads from upper management of your numerology. Okay. So now, before I show you, am I allowed to share my screen?
I love it. Here, yes, I can let you share.
Okay. Before we go through each of the numbers, okay, I want you to understand that this is just another clue. It's just, you're just gathering data. That's all. That's not to say, oh my gosh, I'm a 5, I have to do this stuff. No. I want you to imagine, like my son loves to play this game hot and cold, right? He'll take a toy, he'll hide it in the house, and then he wants me to go find it. So I'm looking around, I'll be in the kitchen, he's like cold. I'll get into the living room, warmer, and then I'll go into the dining room, hot, hot, hot. And then I'm like looking up into the chandelier, and there I find his toy. Okay, hot, 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 right? That's all you're doing. You're looking at either what's going to light you up, what your next step is, what your true life purpose is. Maybe you just want that so clear because it gets so clouded from all the projection from society and the people that we love. I love you people, but you project all over me. Get away from me, right? It's like, I don't know what I will want anymore. So this is just another clue. That's it. We're just trying to find that toy. We're getting hotter. We're getting hotter. Okay. So everybody has their number. I'm a 5.
We've
so
got one.
I can share screen.
hang on, East. I want to make sure we don't leave anybody behind. Sharon, okay, Rachel's going to help Sharon get her number. Awesome, awesome. Yes, so Sharon, you add all the numbers. I think Rachel's going to help you. You just add them up until you get to a single digit.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, go ahead, East.
Yeah. Okay. It says you cannot start sharing while the other participant is sharing. Let's see.
Let me hang on 1 second.
That's okay.
I wonder if it's because we're spotlighted.
I can read them. It's just sometimes like it's
No,
easier to be
I
able
want
to
to
read
share
with
it.
me.
Yeah, we'll share it. Let me. Oh, I think I'm sharing sound from the music. Let me turn that off. It thinks I'm sharing.
So again, like numerology, it's one of those things where just,
Can you try again?
take what feels good. Now, here's the thing. You all have a reticular activating system, okay? Your subconscious, your soul is looking out into the world trying to get your attention on certain things, right? So if I was driving around and I wanted to buy a Range Rover, I'm going to see Range Rovers all over the place, right? So each of these life path numbers have a multitude of potential purposes, callings, vocations, careers. But your reticular activating system is going to go, that's what I'm supposed to do. It's going to narrow in on the thing that your soul really wants to get your attention. So pay attention inside, okay? Pay attention inside. And let's take a look at this bad boy here. Full screen mode, okay? So this is how you write down your birth date, 6/27/1970, add up all the numbers, 6 + 2 + 7 + 1 + 9 + 7 + 0 equals 203. And then, oops, and then that comes out to a 5. So I'm a 5. All right. If you're a life path 1, those are considered the leaders. Numerology 1 is new beginnings. So you're independent, you have leadership qualities. You're going to feel most fulfilled as a leader, leading. Originality, life purpose, to be a pioneer, to go and start new, blaze new trails, an innovator, independence, initiating new ideas. A life path 2 is the diplomat. They like cooperation, harmony, patience, to bring balance and harmony, working well with others, promoting cooperation and diplomacy. A life path 3, the communicator. 3 is all about creativity, self-expression, socialization, to express yourself creatively. So if you're a 3, you're going to feel like, I really love being creative. I want to be able to share that gift and communicate. A life path 4 likes to build. They like order, they like structure. So stability, practicability, they're hard workers and they feel good hardworking. To establish a solid foundation, work diligently. A life path 5 is the explorer. They love change, freedom. They're the ones that are like, they're shiny object syndromes for sure. Embrace change, experience life's adventures, to encourage others as well. A 6 is a nurturer. 6 is the number for karma, for dharma. It's for family. It's for community, responsibility, compassion, service to others. 7 is the seeker. Okay. 7 is spirituality. The people with a life path 7 want to understand those fundamental questions of why. Why am I here? What am I here to do? They seek knowledge, wisdom. And then 8 is the achiever, ambition, confidence, business. 8's all about money, physical manifestation. So they love to see that manifest. And then 9 is the humanitarian, compassion, idealism, altruism. Now, let me go through this. This goes even deeper. If you're a 1, these are your aspects, but I want to look at careers and callings for a 1. Let's just go over each one. Could be possible career and calling. Okay. Creative professions, entrepreneurship. If you're a 1, you've got entrepreneurial DNA in you. Leadership roles, innovators and visionaries. So CEOs, people that really can have a vision and manage other people, and directors. So that's a 1. And consulting, motivational speaking, project management, sales and marketing, public relations. Those are all for our 1s. 2s are that diplomat. So they are going to look at mediation, conflict resolution kind of jobs, human resources, counseling and therapy, customer service, event planning would be great for a 2. social work, teaching and education, nonprofit, volunteering, relationship coaching, public relations. Those might feel really good and fulfilling for you. A 3 is going to be creative arts again, right? Public relations will be good because you can get creative there. Entertainment industry, marketing and advertising. As I'm dropping this for you, I want you to know that you all were born with like these inherent drives and callings, and many of us go against the grain. Like, let's say you're a 3 and you've always wanted to go into entertainment, but your parents told you you'll never make any money there. You can't go there. You got to go do something else. You've been going against your own grain. And that's in Chinese medicine and philosophy, it's best to go with the flow, right? And when you do, it feels so good. So maybe you've been spending some time going against the flow and it's exhausting. And you're like, I just want to go with the flow. Marketing and advertising is for a 3, teaching and education, graphic design, event planning, social media, photography, life coaching. Our 3s are all about that. A 4 is a builder. So project management, accounting, finance, engineering, architecture. Remember, they want to create structure. They want to create foundations. Healthcare, legal assistant, anything in the legal field, library science, inventory management, real estate would be great for a 4. A 5, again, is that explorer. They love change. So 5s often will have several careers within a lifetime. Travel industry is great for them. Sales and marketing, event planning, freelance, being very independent. And entrepreneurship is freelancing. Entrepreneurship, they like to be their own boss. Nobody's a boss of me. Public relations, consulting, media and journalism, sales rep, personal training or coaching are our 5s. A 6, remember, they are compassionate, service to others, all about like creating a community, harmony. So what they're going to love is counseling and therapy, healthcare, teaching, parenting coaching would be great, right? Because 6 is about family, the family structure, human resources, nonprofit and charity work, interior design, nutritionists, dietitians, family mediation, community organizer. These are our 6s. They love community. It's about bringing everybody together. A 7 is that seeker. 7 is spirituality. They're really looking at the wisdom of the world, why we are the way we are. They're very much into the cosmos. So they're a researcher, philosopher, theological, psychologist, counselor, academic scholar, spiritual leader or mentor, right? And I want to say for all the 7s on this call, pick up the phone. What that means is you are being called right now on this planet. If ever a time we need the 7s, we need the spiritual counselors to wake people up to what's going on, to live a life that's not service to self, that's service to others, it's now. So this is your wake-up call. Astrologer, numerologist, IT specialists and programmers, librarian, author or writers, scientific or medical researcher. 8s. 8s are all about business and manifesting on this physical planet. 8 is a number of the physical manifestation of things. So entrepreneurship, if you're an 8, Sarah, meant to be an entrepreneur, it's in your DNA.
I'm an 8.
Leadership, finance, real estate development, law and legal professions, management consulting, sales leadership, investor, venture capitalist, corporate governance, marketing and brand management. Okay, that's an 8. They're all about just creating on big scales and making big money and big impact and helping manifest great things. And 9 is our humanitarian, also needed so much right now. So nonprofit, humanitarianism, the people that are cleaning up the waters, running those kind of companies, counseling and therapy, teaching and education, educating people what's going on, social work, environmental activism, philanthropy, artistic and creative pursuits, spiritual religious leadership, healing professions, advocacy, human rights are our 9s. They're the humanitarian. So this is, and then that's all of them, advocacy. That is the download to that Purpose and Possibilities program.
Awesome.
But again, we're just looking for clues. Then when you place that with how did I play as a kid? Oh my gosh, I'm starting to see a pattern here. What do people pick my brain for? What do people come to me for advice? What am I looking at? What am I searching? What am I interested in? What am I reading? What have I overcome myself? That's the last and final piece to the puzzle I'll leave with you today, which is if you really want to find another part of your calling, mission, or purpose, look at the really hard, tough things that you've gone through yourself, because I don't believe that God, the universe, source, cosmos would have given you those hardships if they weren't also meant to be a gift and a way to serve others.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you,
Yeah.
East. That was amazing. And you guys will share a link to get that PDF. It's part of East's offer in just a minute. And a couple people asked in the chat, if you could just share briefly, what if their number didn't resonate with them at all?
That's okay. You just get curious.
Okay.
You get
Yeah.
curious. And so I will, Sarah, you can send them this for free. They can have
Oh,
that for free.
awesome.
Yeah, that little download they can have for free. If the number doesn't resonate with you, I really do want you to get curious and see if you are hiding parts of yourself that really want to be exposed.
Mm,
Are
I love
you, because our program can be that deep. That's why we get curious and we look at how did I play as a kid? Even me. And I'm like, I have to remind myself how I played as a kid. When I was a kid, I would gather all the neighborhood kids and I would do make-believe events. I love doing events. I hold events. I love bringing people together. I love teaching. I used to play teacher as a kid, you know. I used to make little businesses when I was a kid. I used to like sew doll clothing and sell them on the street. Like, so there was a lemonade stand and there was the Barbie clothes over here. Like I got the Barbie clothes. I'm not a lemonade maker, but I got Barbie clothes if you want those, right?
love that.
So, so that can happen, but I would do more work on yourself to really know what really lights you up and where you might be denying that in yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Thank you. Yeah, I remember when I was a little girl, I had this 3-ring binder and I would play hotel with my sister and we had like all the rooms and the layouts, but I never was fostered. It was never fostered in me to be an entrepreneur. Like it was like you go to college, you go to, you get a job, you do these things, which is all wonderful. It's beautiful, but I always had this stirring in me to create something different. So pay attention. I love what you said, that it's not just the number, but it's look at your childhood. Where do people ask you for advice? What do you love doing? It's a whole picture, you guys. And hopefully by the end of this event, or even today, you'll have a clearer sense of what that is. So East, tell us about your, as we wrap up, just tell us about your online program, Purpose and Possibilities. And Paula just pop the link in there to the chat. So, and that will be emailed out to you guys as well, but tell us about that.
Yeah, it's a culmination of the work I've been doing with a lot of people in identifying what it is. So we go deeper into each of these areas and explore, and there's a workbook so you follow along so that it's kind of like at a glance. I don't know about you, but I use technology, but I love at a glance. I like to look at a glance and see what's coming up. Sometimes when you write all this stuff out on a white piece of paper, the pattern, the message, the clues just come out from the paper because you see it repeated and you're like, oh my gosh, it is so clear to me now. It's so clear to me now what it is that I'm looking for. And so that's what that program is. It's based on a book I wrote called Living Life in Your PJs, A Path to Happiness. And living life in your PJs is when you are living a life of purpose, passion, joy, and that S is that service to others. When you can connect all those, life feels amazing. There's no case of the Mondays. You feel like you're contributing. You feel good about the exchange of that contribution and the gift, and you're giving your gifts. You find your own unique genius in the world and you feel good sharing it. So that's what that it's I don't know, 2 or 3 hours worth of videos recording the workbook. You do it self-paced, you do it, but that's the Purpose and Possibilities. It's based on the book, Living Life in Your PJs.
Awesome. And then people can also learn more about you at dreast.com, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
So wonderful. Well, thank you so much, East. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I just really want to say, keep going. Like if it doesn't resonate, don't give up. Like, oh, okay, it doesn't resonate. I'm going to get even more curious. Like you're just keep going after to find it. Keep looking for it. Keep looking for what that is. Never give up on that, because that progress will eventually get you there. So the last analogy I'll leave you with is, I believe this with every fiber of my being, and that is, you can't mess up. Oh, East, what if I take a wrong turn? What if I go the wrong direction? What if I pick the wrong thing? You can't. The universe has you, okay? So there is a ride at Disneyland called Autopia, and it's the cars, right? And you actually push your foot on the pedal, and this like old gas engine like sputs, and then you're driving in the little car race, right? But you can steer right and you can steer left, but if you go too far, you're on a track. So if I go too far to the right, the car brings me back. If I go too far to the left, the car brings me back. But if I don't keep my foot on the pedal, somebody comes from behind me and hits me. So I do believe this, that as long as you keep your foot on the pedal, you keep trying different things to figure out what it is that lights you up, right? You need that contrast. You try this. I didn't like that. Great. Now you know. I don't like this. I like this a little bit. Let me get, as long as you keep your foot on the gas, you keep going forward, you won't mess up. You'll eventually get to this space where you're like, oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. You can also use the analogy of the world is like Costco or Nordstrom. You can take it back. You can take it back. Shop around, try on a purpose for a few weeks. If you don't like it, it doesn't fit, doesn't feel good, take it back, get something else. Costco takes stuff back that I've had for 2 or 3 years. They let me bring it back, and I get credit and buy something else, right? So let's not put too much pressure on ourselves that it has to be perfect, that we have to be ready, that it has to be the thing. No, just keep going. Baby steps are still steps. That's it.
I love
That's all
it.
we got to do.
This is why I love you. I just love it. Thank you so much, East, for being with us today.
Yeah, you guys have a wonderful retreat. So much love from the West Coast.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.